how I got started in ham radio. First got started with software defined radio. It's like the little DVB uh, sticks for watching digital TV. Some guy modified the firmware for that, and you can listen to FM radio and repeaters and um, CBs, everything. But and I got one here actually with me. It's a little it's a little more advanced than the one I got started on, but I got a picture of the one I got started on, and I found all these people on there talking. I seen all these signals, and it's like, what is this? And I hear all these people, and they kept saying all these numbers and letters, and I was like, I think that's real people. And it's like, I think this is ham radio, like what they did in the movies. I said, I want to be one of them guys that can transmit and show up on there. So then I fell into like a rabbit hole. It started off with a $25 dongle to listen to repeaters and stuff, and now I ended up, woo, it's a rabbit hole. And once you get in it a little bit, and that's my personality is like nothing or just wide open. So I just been going wide open, and ever since I got that General from Felton, oh my gosh, it's been amazing. But it keeps me busy and helps me talk to people because I have some issues, and talking to people has been one of them. So it's helped me connect with other people, and I'm glad we're meeting again. It's good to see everybody. But I'll get back on topic. Let me open up them slides. That'll help me kind of, because I only got like 8 slides, but I'm going to talk about, like, that's how I got into the radio. Then I'm going to show you a little bit about it, and then I'm going to show you about the hot spots. I think there's a lot of people that want to know about I got some DMR stuff set up, and I've also got POSAG. It's a beeper that transmits through your hotspot. And it's pretty cool. It's real big over there in Germany, and they got tons of users. And I had to work with them back and forth to get my server to have a stable connection to them across the pond. But it's real huge in Germany, and I'll go into that a little bit further. But it's crazy. Like, all the digital modes are similar, and they all got pros and cons. I wouldn't say DMR is the best. I've been on Fusion a lot lately. Fusion's a lot more easier to get set up. Like, here's my Fusion radio. I never even have hooked it up to a computer. I just put my call sign in and the repeater frequency. And that's all I did. But DMR is very complex, and a lot of people are intimidated by it. But if you take it and you break it down to like an analog repeater, like things like it has color codes, and that's like a PL tone, and the hardest part is programming the radio and learning. But once you relate it to the analog side, it kind of like clicks finally. But I'll just go over the Raspberry Pi information first, and then we'll go to the hotspot. Maybe it'll wake up. But there's the good resource for the Raspberry Pi on the ham radio. His call is a KN4NTU. His name's Jason. He's got a YouTube channel. That's where I learned all of this from, is his YouTube channel. He's got a mailing list you can subscribe to, and when he updates his scripts and his builds, he sends you out emails of all the updates he does. And he's real big into emergency communications, and that's why he uses the Raspberry Pi so much, because you can run it off of the grid. And if you like that type of thing, check out him. He's a great resource. But we'll open up some slides. Oh, I got to put it on I didn't put it on the. I'm sorry, I'm scatterbrained, but like. I'm very clumsy too. But this is more about the Raspberry Pi. And I made this on the Pi, made it on the Raspberry Pi. And I'm using the Raspberry Pi to present it. I mean, it's just like a normal computer. It's real cheap, $35 and like a credit card. That's crazy. That's just me being silly. Somebody actually made a Raspberry Pi with the Raspberry Pi. They put the timer up to the oven and everything, and that's where I got that picture from. Just, why did you do it? Because you could, That's a lot of stuff I do. But they sold 30 million. That's a stat from 2019. 30 million of them. That's crazy. But and then look at that. 700,000 units to 30 million units. And it's just growing exponentially since then. And even with the COVID going on, which I'll talk about in a second, a lot of them are using them for ventilators. And some hams are actually making some ventilators out of Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and stuff because they can't get them. But that was cool to see. And I got a bit of information here. But I mean, applications, you can use them for everything. They're big in industry, like commercial and like home automation. I mean, industrial, third party, like my 3D printer at the house. I've been obsessed with that a lot lately. And I've been printing a lot of radio parts, and that uses a Raspberry Pi. I mean, it's crazy. But there's just, what can't you do with it? But here's the stats for the COVID-19. Quarter one of 2020, Raspberry Pi seen a large increase. What do they say? In March 2020, Raspberry Pi sales reached 640,000 units, second largest month of sales. Because of all the COVID stuff, and they're so cheap. But I mean, this is a hotspot here. This is a Pi Zero, and that's what I built my first hotspot with. And you get what you pay for, I mean, unfortunately. And this was the cheapest way in, and I got it from China. And this on the bottom is a Pi Zero, and on the top it has a little TFT screen, and it shows you like what talk group you're in, like what channel for DMR. They have different rooms called talk groups. And it'll show you what room you're in and who's talking. It'll show you their call sign. And Brandmeister seems to be about the biggest one that most people are on, and that's what I'm going to show you tonight. It's called Brandmeister, and that's what your hotspot hooks up to. It goes through the Wi-Fi, and then it goes to the internet, and it connects like a mesh node. And it's really cool how it works. Let's see if I think I got maybe a few more things. But that's how I got started out in ham radio. I learned a lot about noise and things like that, trying to look at radio signals, because I was just reading about it. And so I came up with the idea of putting the Raspberry Pi in my attic and hooking my antenna up to it. And this was 3 years before I had a license, and I would drive the family crazy. Like, I'd have wires running, and I really had no idea what I was doing. And I just kept trying it, and eventually stuff started working, and I said, maybe I'm onto something. So then I guess I'll get my license and talk. Yeah, so it's a good group. And but yeah, you can connect to that Raspberry Pi with your computer, and then you can see like the spectrum scope on your computer screen, and you click and it sends a signal and it changes the frequency on that little dongle there on that little dongle, the DVB. But yeah, it's crazy. And that's how I eventually got to my license. That's the chipsets, and it don't really. This is after I got to this one, it would like, I think this only transmit 10 milliwatts, but I've been trying to record and play back radio controlled car signals, and I haven't got the modulation right in it yet. But I can see, I've seen it transmitting and everything. But you got to make it match for the car to recognize the receiver. And but I've always got 30 projects going on at the same time. I have trouble finishing them, so that's one of my big issues. But I'm working on that. I'm not perfect, no. But yeah. But there's the stats for the Raspberry Pi 4. This is a 3 here. The 4 is the newest iteration, but it's just insane. For $35, I mean, you get a quad-core computer, gigabit Ethernet, 2 USB 2.0 ports, 2 3.0. You get GPIO headers where you can hook other peripherals up to it and write code for it and have them all interact with each other. I mean, it's just crazy. And really, there's... It's everything. Yeah, like if you got kids, get them into the Raspberry Pis, like, because it'll teach them programming and everything. It's a $40 computer. They'll be writing code, and it's just great for STEM, the teaching and everything. But then you can also, I don't know how the FCC sees this, but you can transmit FM radio signals with the stock, the GIPO headers. You just hook a wire up to there and you can play it over FM just out of the, probably wasn't smart to do when I was doing a presentation, but just out of one of them pins right there. You can hook a wire up to that and send FM. That's just crazy. Like, how did they write this code to do that? And they're just using a clock. That is insane. But I guess I lost my slides. It'll come back, I guess. But maybe I got my hotspot here. I thought I had it going before. Oh yeah, before I dropped everything.
That's PoE compatible.
Yeah, you have to have an extra hat. Yeah, the hat's like a board you stick on, and it connects to the pins, like the header pins here. But yeah, that PoE is really cool. You can power like security cameras and everything just all over one wire. You send the data and the power all over one wire. I used to put in a lot of security cameras, and they ran off 48 volts, so we'd run data and power all in one bundle. Oh yeah, B. We always use B. Yeah. Did a lot of work in Calhoun up here for the high school. We did all the cameras there. But I'm sorry, I'm so scatterbrained. Let me get my slide up. I think that was about it though for the slides. I was going to go 16 gig. But I mean, the best thing about the Raspberry Pi is you can't really break it. Like, you can just go nuts with it, and if you mess it up real bad, just reflash the operating system on the the little memory card and start all over again. And before you get real crazy, just make a backup image of the card after you set everything up, and just go nuts. I mean, that's how I learned a lot of things, is just breaking my own stuff. And breaking the family's computer, back when we all had to share the same computer. So that was I always got grounded. So, but maybe that was the end of the slides. I really never went through this. Thank y'all for working with me, and I'm just glad to get out of the house from this COVID. Any excuse I can get to get out. Maybe if this goes on YouTube, maybe I can look at it in a year later, and maybe we can think, oh, that's gone by now. Maybe it'll get, I don't know, but it's just.
Well, like you were saying, I've been playing with the Pi too, and like they actually on their website have a little Flash program, and you can pick amongst different operating systems, and you just push the button and
Yeah, that's what I did with this. It's that Noobs loader, the Noobs loader. And you see when it booted up into a OS selection screen. And I have a media player on here, a media center. And, you know, you can watch Netflix or whatever, you know, hook it up to the TV. And it's got a gaming console on here. So you can play all the Nintendo games and stuff. And you boot into whatever operating system for what application you want to do. And they're all free. They don't cost anything. And all the software is free. So if you're a cheapskate like me and you don't want to pay, you can just download all the software you want and look at it. And it doesn't cost anything. But and it's just real stable. Like a lot of the ordering signs at fast food places and everything, a lot of them run Raspberry Pis and whatnot. And it's around you more than you realize it. Yeah, that's what I told. That's the guy to check out if you want to get into the. Yeah, he's really good, Jason, and he's got scripts. And I actually ran these scripts that he makes. He puts them up on GitHub, and it installs all of this ham radio software. You don't have to do nothing. You just hit the enter key and type in your call sign. You don't. I mean, I can get the. I could get, if y'all are interested, I could get the links and stuff to Felton, and he could email them out to y'all, and you know, you just run the commands, and it's a lot easier now. So, but look at all this software here, just from that script. It puts it in here. That's every RDOP, and I mean, it's got WinLink on here, everything. And it, yeah, JS8 call, WS, yeah, everything.
You can set up a PSK 31 out of that.
Uh-huh.
A2 or any HF radio.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just all in that little, it just still blows my mind, really.
I got FT8 working perfect on my Mac computer, and I don't want to change anything.
Yeah, and
I might just do this.
And this right here, see here where it says your grid square. If you have a USB GPS plugged into there, there's software that it automatically installs on there, and it'll show you your grid square real time, and it'll change it. I think I just tried to start. Yeah, I clicked on, but I haven't even begin to explore all the applications in here for that. I mean, and I'd love to, if anybody wants to get that set up, just hit me up on the repeater or email or Facebook or anywhere, and I'd be glad to help you with the Raspberry Pi or DMR or anything. I waited on this phone, this will probably be about the end, but I waited on this phone for 4 or 5 months from China. They had the Chinese New Year, then they had the COVID going on, but this is a DMR radio and a cell phone all in one. But I've got this hooked up to the hotspot, and the hotspot's hooked up to the cell phone. They're working on firmware to do the DMR over IP, where you don't need the hotspot, but I don't believe that's out yet. But you can turn this into a hotspot and then connect a DMR radio to this, and like I'm just barely still getting into the surface, but this is cool because everywhere you go it just has an app, and I'm lazy and I don't want to program the repeaters, and you just scroll it down like that and it shows you from your current location to the repeater, and all you do is push on it and click send to radio, and it will it'll do analog and DMR as well.
How much does that cost?
About 1100,
Yeah.
about as much as an iPhone.
159.
Yeah, this is just all in one, but it's just, it does a single point of failure if when you do that though. But I just wanted one thing to.
If your battery dies on it.
Yeah, it's got I got extra ones and solar. It can charge. I can charge it with solar panels and everything.
Yeah, right. I was about something about it.
Yeah, and you just pop a new one in there. But like, it's I'm trying to think let me see.
Bridgecom is doing that now where they're having the hotspot on right through the radio.
Oh yeah, Bridgecom Systems. Yeah, they're awesome. They do the Bridgecom Systems. They do all this for you. When you order a hotspot, they put all your state talk groups and everything in there for you. So when you get your radio, you just turn it on. But yeah, it's 818.
Oh, I think that telephone might be a bear trap.
Yeah, they're it's real sturdy though. I got this because it's durable. So I dropped it out of my pocket on the motorcycle going 40 down the street, and it broke it right here, and it broke the antenna off, but I replaced the connector, and I just put a BNC connector on there now. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get the screen fixed, but I'm just not prepared for to show the hotspot thing, so I'll have to do that. I'll do another one, and I'll prepare more for it. And but I'd like to get questions. I mean, I'm sure y'all got Does anybody have questions about anything? Like, because I just wanted to
I have lots about the Raspberry Pi, but I don't know enough about it to know what questions to ask. I've got one, but I never have been able to really do anything with it. And, you know, because I really don't know how.
Yeah, it's I joined the Facebook group, so I could start the video, how to walk you through all that from the basics. And you can always call me too, like on phone or whatever. You know, I'll be glad to help you out.
Well, I know
Especially
it said something about downloading Direwolf.
Direwolf. That's the gateway for APRS. That's how APRS passes traffic to the
It's the software
to,
TNC.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any help would be appreciated, because I want to do something with it besides sit there and I bought a case for it, and I bought all this stuff, and
I wonder if you could do something. You might could do something like with recipes or something. You know, put it on the touch screen or something. I don't know. I was just trying to think of something practical. I don't.
We've been trying for years, trying to get someone that could put together a gateway for Windley.
That'd be cool. That's what I'd like to do with this. And you know, if I could do it with this, would you want to use maybe one of them, or would it be where? I mean, yeah, that we could talk about.
We talked about that.
Yeah, because that's what I'm gonna use to. I'm gonna try and send my WinLink to you from my radio to here to. Okay, I'm sorry, but I know that was crazy disorganized. Thank y'all for being patient with me, and you can ask me any questions you want. My brain's just wired a little different, but ask me anything. I'll be glad, and we'll learn it together. Thank you, everybody. I'm done.